there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today is the first part of a two-part video, certainly two-part, maybe more, that I'm going to do, excuse me, around wreath building. So I thought I would start with making the template. These wreath flowers are doing the rounds at the moment, and I thought it would be worthwhile going through how to get a wreath template. Thing to bear in mind is that you can buy them. They are not cheap, however. The only one I found in the UK works out at about £30, and you do get two templates and you do get some stamps. But if you don't want the stamps, it's a lot of money. And if you import it from the USA, where they are more readily available, then you are running the risk of having to pay import tax and VAT and the standard, I think it's £8 that the post office charge for collecting aforementioned tax and VAT. So you can make one of these for the cost of a piece of grid paper and a piece of card. So I thought I would show you how to do it. So the key for me is our lovely Stampin' Up grid paper, which comes double-sided. You can do centimetres or inches. Those of you who know me will realise that I work in inches. Or I should say that this is a template for using with your Stamparatus. You can use it with other stamp positioning tools, but I've made it so that it works for the Stamparatus specifically, because it is 7 inches square, and the base of the Stamparatus is about 7.5 inches. So the first thing to do is to measure a square in the middle of your grid paper. Now this is actually slightly grubby grid paper. It doesn't matter because we're going to cut it up anyway. So the first thing for me, in order to make a template that will take a 3.5 inch square, which is what I used for this card, which for me is a good size on a standard card base, is to draw a 3.5 inch square. And to do that, you need to go 1.5 inches out in from your centre. Everything I'm going to do will be from this centre point. So to get, 3.5 inches will be 1 3/4. So we're going to come out 1 3/4, which is here, and we're going to go up 1 3/4, which is here. And I'm just using the lines on my grid paper because the measurements are there, so I don't have to measure. I can double check with my ruler that that is 1 3/4, and that is 1 3/4, and that is 1 3/4, and this is 1 3/4. So I can now just draw those lines in. So I have my 3.5 inch, get it right, Yuille, my 3.5 inch square. Now accuracy is reasonably key. The more accurate you are now, the better your template will be. So just bear that in mind. So there we go, 3.5 inch square. This is your 3.5 inch square. So we've then got to do a diamond, as in a square that sits on the angle, and that also needs to be 3.5 inches square. But to get that, you're going to go 2.5 inches from this centre point. So I'm going to follow my 2.5 inch line across and put a mark, and my 2.5 inch line, put a mark, and 2.5 inches and 2.5 inches, and then just join the dots. This, by the magic of mathematics, is 3.5 inches. And the reason I know that is because the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. I always wondered why I was going to need to know that, and how that would ever be useful in my day-to-day life. and now I know. Hypotenuse, by the way, is the corner. Sorry, the hypotenuse is the long angle. So this is the hypotenuse. There, that. So in order to work out that, you have to work out what these squares of these two are. I'm not doing a maths. What am I doing? Video. I'm doing a crafting video. Right. So this paper now comes off, and my trimmer comes in, and I want my square of cut down grid paper to be 7 inches. So again, I'm going to do the whole, let's use the grid paper. Half of 7 inches is 3.5. So my first cut is going to be on this, yes, on this 3.5 inch mark. And my second cut is going to be on this 3.5 inch mark. So that is 7 inches. Now I'm going to measure 3.5 inches out, which is there. And so long as I'm cutting down one of these grid lines, I know it's a 1/4 of an inch at least. So, because these are 1/4 inch grid lines. So that is our 7 inch square. So these I'll keep for scrap bits. Now I've got a piece of thick whisper white. This isn't actually thick whisper white, this is just a piece of scrap card, but thick whisper white or retired cardstock, it's that sort of, but you want something with a bit of weight, and this just happened to be a piece of card that was lying around. So again, we're cutting that at 7 inches. Because this is actually going to be our template, because it's that little bit more robust than a piece of grid paper. So, the next thing to do is to grab some washi tape and stick these together. Now, I do tend, if I want things to come to pieces, to stick the washi tape on the back of my hand, just so that it's not quite as sticky. And I'm just going to stick these together. And there we go. So those are stuck together, and the only reason for that is because I want this to be what I see and what I cut. So first things first are to cut this square. Now one of the joys of our trimmer is that we've got this little, let me take it out, we've got this little pointy bit here, which means you can line that up with where you want to start trimming. So long as I've got my my line straight, which is on the 5 3/4 inch mark over here, sorry, 5 1/4 inch mark, I can pop my blade straight down and push, and then stop on this line here, and then turn it, and again line it up to the 5 1/4 mark. I'm just going to write that down. 5 1/4, because that'll be useful for the notes. And again, push down and cut. 5 1/4, push down and cut, and you can just check as you're going that you are cutting along this line. Now, you're never going to be 100% accurate, because life just isn't like that, but the key is to be as accurate as possible, and this is a lot easier than doing it with a craft knife and a cutting board. And that's, whoops, that will be 3.5 inches square. That's scrap. And then all we've got to do is take out these corners. Now, for this you do need to kind of line up where the line is on the gutter, on the trimmer. And again, all we're doing is pushing in our blade on the point, and I would go from the point to the gap rather than the other way round. Turn, line your piece up into your point and into your point, and then that piece comes out, and turn again, line it up into your point, cut, into your point, cut, and that piece comes out, and this should be the last one if I can count. In, cut, in, cut, and then this piece comes out. And if there's any really troublesome bits coming out, just go in with your snips and just get that corner nice and pointy. And then take our washi tape away. And there is our template. Now I will write on that it is 3.5 inches, because then if I work out how to do a different size, I know which one's which. So just to prove that it is 3.5 inches, let me grab a piece of scrap, which is smaller, grab my trimmer. This is a piece of chocolate chip, which is now retired, so is for me now scrap. Cut this at 3.5 inches. Get rid of those bits. And ta-da! It's 3.5 inches! And it will work on the diamond side as well. So there we go. I hope you will have a go at this. Tomorrow I will do the whole, and this is one I prepared earlier, and show you how to use it. So thank you very much indeed for watching. I will try and get images of this on my blog. Probably the easiest thing is if I draw it again, and take snapshots so that those are available for you to follow. So thank you very much indeed. This is the one I prepared earlier, and as I say, there you go, 3.5 inches and 3.5 inches. It's like magic. So thank you very much indeed. I hope you found that useful. Please give it a go. And as I say, tomorrow I will show you how to use it. It is doing the rounds. This is nothing particularly original. I've seen a few videos on how to use the template. I've not seen so many on how to make it. And I think it's all very well knowing how to use it. It's quite useful to know how to make it first. I'm just going to say one other thing. My giveaway for my subscriber, my 4,000 subscriber, I don't know why I said I'd only do it for a week. I'm going to do it for the whole of August. I'm going to change the original post on my blog so that it now reads that it will be running until the end of August. So if you want to have a go at that, you have got until the end of August. And all you need to do to enter, wherever you are in the world, is to share either the blog post or the video, or both. That gets you 2 entries. And if you're in the UK, if you shop with me, then for every £10 you spend, you get an entry. And if you buy an ink pad, or 3 or 4 or 10, then for every ink pad, that's the classic ink pads, so the ones that look like this, for every ink pad you buy, you get an extra entry. So thank you very much indeed for watching. If you want to read the information, the instructions for this, then the blog post is immediately below, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye!